Hey guys, here today working on a 2013 Mercedes C250. This is a W204 chassis. I'm just doing an oil change on it today. I'll also be having a video up for how to replace the air filter and how to replace the cabin filter. I'll leave boxes in the corners that you can click on to access those videos. But today I'm just doing the oil change right now in this video. So obviously you will need oil, a new oil filter, and now you can do this by using an extractor to suck all of the oil out from the dipstick tube, which is probably what most people would like to do. You don't get dirty, you don't have to do anything very difficult with that. The only thing you have to do with that method is to use the pump to suck out the oil, and then you can fill up the new oil. And then also you would have to change the oil filter, which is located on these cars. It's located in the back, right back there where I'm pointing at. There is, you can't miss it. It's small. It has a orange ring around it that says turbo on it. Excuse me, my camera's not going to zoom in on it, but it's there, as you can see it right down there. So that's where the oil filter is located at on these cars. But the way I'm doing it is actually using the normal way of draining it from the drain pan, the drain plug on the bottom. Again, you can do this either way you want to, but this way shows you how to actually drain it from the oil pan and how to go about doing it that way. So yeah, this way is actually going to take a little bit more time than you would with the other version, but nonetheless we'll get it done. You will need a 27mm socket for the oil filter housing if you don't have one of those. If you want to get an inch, if you want to get a American size, it would be 1 1/16 inch. Now obviously this is a German car, it should be a millimeter, and that's the wrench you should buy. However, I know people will probably try and wing it and use whatever they have around, and so a 1 1/16 inch socket will work, but I don't recommend it. I recommend just getting the correct size. So I'll leave that at your discretion. You will also need a 8mm socket, and I believe the drain pan plug on these is a 13mm, but I will check once I get there. So obviously you need to jack up the car, get it on jack stands, secure it in the air, and then you would need to remove the lower splash shield that's under the car. We'll show you how to do that here in a minute once I get the camera set up. Once you're under the car, you'll notice that there is a big shield plastic cover here, a front one, and there's also a back one. The front one is the one you want to remove. It's held on by various 8mm screws. I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that hold it on. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off now. Okay, now that you've got the initial shield off, you will also need to lower the rear shield. That's also held on by 8mm bolts as well. There appears to be 6 of those as well, so you can go ahead and lower this shield also. Okay, now that you've got the splash shields off, you'll notice that this will be the oil pan here. Directly behind that is a rectangular pan. That's a transmission pan, so don't drain that. We'll be working right here next to the catalytic converter. You can see on the driver's side there is a 13mm bolt right here that you can see my fingers on. That is the drain pan, so you go ahead and loosen that up and then drain the oil out of the car. Okay, while the oil is drained down the bottom, I like to just let that drain, and I like to come up here and remove the oil cap, so that way that allows there not to be a vacuum. It allows whatever oil to drain out of there as best as it can, and then we can also replace the oil filter while we're up here. So go ahead and just take off your oil cap, and you can just wipe it down, set it down to the side. And then you want to go on ahead, and you probably don't need to remove this cover, but I'm going to remove it anyway. It just lifts straight up like so. You can go ahead and just set it down, and this is the dipstick for the oil. Go ahead and take that out and wipe it down as well. Get it all nice and clean. Okay, now we can go on ahead and remove the oil filter. I'm going to remove the oil filter now, which, as I told you before, is located right here with the orange ring around it. There may be some oil that comes out. You can try and get a rag around the bottom of it if you can, to try and stop it from getting down onto the ground. But honestly, now that you've had the oil draining for a while from the drain pan, there really shouldn't be too much oil that comes out. So remember to grab your 27mm wrench, or if you so happen to not have listened and got a 1 1/16 socket, that will also work as well. You can go ahead and slide it right over the top, and then go ahead and break this loose. You want to do it slowly, so that way whatever oil that is in this housing can have a chance for the there won't be a vacuum on it anymore, so it'll actually just fall down and go down and drain into the out the drain plug on the bottom. The old oil filter right here, and the new oil filter next to it. This particular oil filter kit I got comes with new O-rings, so that you can replace them on the actual cartridge here. You will need to have either a screwdriver of some sort, preferably a very small one, so that you can pick the O-rings off of this. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the old filter off of here. Now, excuse me, it's kind of messy. Go ahead and remove the old filter simply by pulling straight up on it, like so. You may, obviously you can see it'll take a little bit of a tug to get it off, but it's off now. You go ahead and stick this back into the box. Just set it down. Helps to have plenty of rags handy so that you don't get oil everywhere. Now you'll have the new O-rings to use. Some kits may come with extra O-rings. Most of them come with the correct amount. Obviously this large one here, you can tell, is for around this area here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a screwdriver to pull off this old O-ring here. You can see just get underneath it like so, and you can just pry it off. Throw that one away. And what I like to do is to Honestly, I like just rub my hand around this because it'll still have some residual oil on it, and then just rub it around on this new gasket or new O-ring, and then you could just slide this one back on into place. Make sure you get it back down into the correct groove that it was in. Not the very top groove, it's the groove. Yeah. Let's see if we can get it back around. All the way into the top groove like so. And so now we got the new O-ring on here on the top, and now there'll be a small O-ring, two small O-rings here, one on the very top and one right here on the, and one right here on this portion. So one here and one right here. You can remove both of those and install the two new O-rings that you have. And there you go, now you have all the new O-rings installed. Alright, after you got your O-rings on, you go ahead and get your new oil filter and just slide it back onto the cartridge itself. There's no real orientation which way it goes. You may find it a little difficult to get it started initially, but I promise, just hold right here and keep pushing it, it'll go on. So you go ahead and just slide this all the way back on, all the way till it's fully seated down. You can't press it anymore. And there you'll have it like this. Then you can go on ahead and reinstall this back into the cartridge where you got it from. Okay, now you can take and reinstall the oil filter housing cartridge back down into where it goes. Started by hand. Then you go ahead and tighten it up with the wrench. You don't want to go too tight on this, pretty much until you just see the plastic lip bottom out on the, just like so. That's plenty. You don't have to go crazy on this because it is just plastic, it will break. Okay, so after now you have that installed, by now the oil would have all drained out of the drain pan on the bottom. So you can go ahead and take your attention back down to the bottom of the car and reinstall the drain plug, the 13mm, and tighten it down just a little snug. Don't go too crazy on that because you will strip it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back down there and finish that up now. Okay, now you can go ahead and reinstall the drain plug, 13mm. I'm not sure the exact torque spec of this, but I just get them pretty snug. Don't need to go too crazy on it because it is just aluminum. It's good enough like that. Go ahead and wipe down the area of any excess oil. And now you can go on ahead and just reinstall the plastic covers that you had under here. Remember to install the rear one first, then you can go on ahead and install the front one. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, after you've got the splash shields back installed underneath the car, you can go ahead and come back up to the top and fill the car with oil through the oil cap filler, which is located right here. I'll go ahead and do that now. Using Mobil 1 European car formula, 0W40 is what the car calls for. I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the area, make sure everything is clean. And you can go on ahead and reinstall the oil cap. And reinstall the engine cover. Just like so. And that is all that's needed to change the oil on this car. Again, you can use the other method, which is to leave the car on the ground and just suck up the old oil through the dipstick tube. You would have to go out and buy either you can use a powered vacuum pump, or you can use a hand pump one. That's fine. They're relatively cheap on Amazon. You can get them for about $50 up to $150, depending on which particular one you want and how many features you want on it. But I like doing it this way, just because I'm used to doing it this way, and I feel that the hand pump ones, they work just as well, but I'm just used to doing it this way. And I figure if you don't want to go buy the pump, that you will want it to do it this way as well. So I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube showing how to use the pump, the electric pump, to suck it out, but not too many videos showing how to drain it from the drain pan traditionally. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. You can ask me any questions or comments you have in the comment section below. Again, I will have a video showing how to replace the cabin filter, the air filter, and also how to reset the service light on the cluster. So I'll try and leave links in the description below for those videos. If not, you can feel free to hit the subscribe button to my channel, and you can check out all the content I have up now. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much.